Hello, everybody. Let me know if you can hear me. I thought I'd just start a few minutes early just because why not? Because it's a just because live stream. I just got done with my day and I thought, you know what? I'll just jump on and see what everybody's up to. I see we have, wow, quite a few people already.
Hi there, welcome to Forum.
And I did not mean for that to happen because that's my computer audio. All right. I was uh I was getting ready to get a script going. I've been working on a script for hey everybody. Yeah, let's see. We got Jedi Master X, we got Tree Shaker. Bradshaw, very kind of you. Thank you for the super sticker. You didn't have to do that, but much appreciated. BT3615, hello from Italy. Big Daddy King, aloha. King Eric the Greatest, hello. Geeky, hey. Brian Dillingham, hello. Drogger, hello. Tim Hayes, hello. Eric Thompson, hello. A lot of people to say hi to tonight. And if I missed any of your names, Johnny, Matt, Hector, hello. Oh, Kenny, you didn't have to do that. That's very kind of you. Ditched Star Wars Theory stream with guest Phil Tippett to join the Retro Blasting family. It's very kind of you, Kenny, but I would totally understand if you wanted to finish that with Phil Tippett. I totally get that. We're always here for you, man. When it's a community of supportive people, they're always ready to ask you how the Phil Tippett thing went. We're probably more excited to hear what you report back than you realize. Captain Mule, hello. Darla, hello. Will, hello. Yeah, wow, 165 people. That's amazing. Oh wow, Slepto, thank you so much. Appreciate the super chat, man, or possibly ma'am, depending. I don't know. But Zoran, Nick, it's nice to know that you're a longtime viewer. Thank you. We really appreciate that. Potch, good morning from the Philippines. Good morning to you. Will, how are you liking Georgia? Scott Hughes, how are you? Clobbering Times, thank you so much for being here, man. I'm just jumping on just because. For those of you that don't know, Clobbering Times is a great YouTube channel. He's the guy that is a comics expert, and he's a longtime friend of mine. He's my guest subject matter expert on the Pride of the X-Men video that I did about a month ago. Really, really great friend. Great to see you, Mike. Wicked. Oh, thank you for the super chat, man. Howdy. How are you? Oh, no problem, Mark. Yeah, I'm just here to just hang out and see. Jedi Master X, I have a question about an R2D2 restoration. You can ask it here, and if the chat doesn't go flying too fast, I'll try and answer it for you. JK Siege, hi. I'll ignore the nickname that I will ignore. But hi, how are you? Midnight's Edge, how you doing, man? How you doing, Tom? Constable Odo, sounds like there's a lot going on in DS9 right now, man. But at least we know the constable's on the case. Let's see. Shinken Red, thank you for the super chat. He says, you'd be proud of me. I got my first vintage Motu Wave 1 He-Man figure this week. Any advice on how to touch up the paint? I would highly recommend that you check out Toy Polloi for that. He has a lot of videos doing paint touch-ups, and he talks about the types of paints he uses and everything. One of the reasons that I haven't done a video like that is because Toy Polloi Dave has it so wrapped up and he does it so well that I just point people over to his video tutorials for that. He is the toy repair expert. I actually just did some toy repair this week, not on camera, but I did it for a good friend, Sal at 2 Cents Toys. He was having problems with a Masters of the Universe Origins Triclops that had just broken right out of the box or right out of the card back. It was shocking. He sent it to me along with some other stuff, and I fixed that up yesterday. I'm going to send that back to him. Its lower leg broke off. But yeah, Toy Polloi is the guy to go to. Thank you, Mecha, by the way. Thank you, Mecha Man Blade. Love the Pride of the X-Men video. Thank you so much. We had a lot of fun doing that. yeah. So anyway, Dark Globe, we need a video on the genius of Gary Kurtz. Thanks so much. Yeah, I'd love to do a video about that. I'd really want to get my ducks in a row on that. I know enough about Gary Kurtz behind the scenes on Star Wars and Empire to be dangerous, but I have all the making of books from Rinsler as well as a number of other sources. So before I would do that, I would really, go back and do sort of a forensic scraping of all the data to make sure that that was correct. Yeah, Michael Schaefer, very satisfying to add that part. I think you might be able to see over my shoulder. I haven't actually put it in there into the playset yet. It's sitting right there though, but I plan on doing that tomorrow. Let's see what we have here. Going down. Oh, Darla Grace, thank you so much for the super sticker. Very kind of you. Let's see. Brian, did NECA make that Triclops for Sal? You might think so. It seems to have been some sort of manufacturing flaw on the leg, from what I could tell. But I was able to reinforce it. I took some photographs, which I hope Sal will use in his video review of the figure. Andyland, do you find yourself doing fewer restorations because you're busy researching for videos? Yeah, for the most part, although it's also because it's very difficult sometimes to do restorations and also film at the same time. Melinda's not able to help me as much as she used to be with those videos, and when you're trying to concentrate on whether or not something is in camera and you're not running the camera, but you're also doing fine work trying to make sure that the repair stays and that it's done well, because sometimes you've only got one shot, then it's really distracting to try and see if the camera is still doing what it's supposed to do. So like, for example, on this figure with Sal, I just made sure that I didn't film it. I just wanted to make sure it was, repaired correctly. And it was pretty tedious. It involved a Dremel and it involved, some two-part epoxy type adhesives and measurements and all kinds of stuff. And I just didn't want to be distracted. Drew, do you have the vehicles for the Robin Hood Kenner line? I want to say I have one or two. I have pieces of one, the Bola Bomber or something like that. But I think I only have the Battle Wagon. I don't think I have the smaller ones. Let's see. So yeah. Oh wow, something jumped on me. Keith, thanks you for the super chat. He says, "Can't stay golden. I'll catch it tomorrow if it's up. It'll be up. It'll be in the live streams playlist for sure." And then RF Biker Scout, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Love the 1980s music live stream. Any hope in an all Kylie Minogue live stream, Dreamland podcast or video in the future?" I would love to do that. I really would. I don't know how much the rest of the Retro Blasting crew would be up for that, but I would totally do that. Let's see. They don't dislike Kylie. It's just, I'm sure they'd be like, "Why?" And I'd be like, "Because. Why do you need a reason?" Let's see. I saw some questions here. Thoughts on WandaVision? Eric, haven't watched it. I'm not boycotting it or anything, but I don't have Disney Plus. I know that Tim will eventually sit me down like we did with the Bad Batch and watch it. But it's not going to happen anytime soon, simply because we're going through Bad Batch right now and we're going through Picard. So those videos will keep peppering in throughout the next few weeks. You'll see those coming up. Forge, thank you so much for the kind words. Thank you for being here. Much appreciated. It's guys like you and Tony that keep me in the hobby. I'm glad to hear that. Let's see. Steven, thank you for the hello. Hope you're doing well also. Yes, Renegade. I did see that. And he really pulled off a miracle there. I'm still looking at it. That toy. I'm not trying to insult Battlestar Galactica fans at all. I feel sorry for them. That toy is a piece of garbage, and it should never have been put out in stores. It should never have been put out in stores. Atari Boy, I don't have any, but I remember them and I like them. If I was going to buy one first, I would want the original release of Bionic Woman. honestly, because the face sculpt was so good. Let's see. Favorite Mego line. What scale are we talking about? I would go with, I would probably say my favorite 8-inch Mego line is going to be either Planet of the Apes or Star Trek. As far as the smaller lines, it's probably going to be Buck Rogers. Let's see. No, Brolican, my Motu Castle is still on pre-order with Big Bad Toy Store, and I'm mentally prepared for them to cancel my pre-order at any moment. So, let's see. I do read my Facebook messages, Octolux. Did you just send it 5 minutes ago? Thank you, JJ. Appreciate that. VDub, thank you for the super chat. He says, perfect timing, always up for a Retro Blasting live stream. Random question. Are you familiar with Glycos action figures? That sounds familiar. Are they the guys that did the RoboForce relaunch where they're like modular? Is that the same company I'm thinking of? Asterisk. You know what? I've seen the trailer. I don't put a lot of money, stock, or betting capital on G.I. Joe as a movie franchise at this point. For me, that movie's very much a wait and see. And beyond wait and see, it's wait and see what my trusted friends say, because they're going to go see it, and I'm just going to let them do that. G.I. Joe and I, both with their toy distribution and with their movie franchise, Hasbro has really mucked that up, and my enthusiasm is gone. I want to, Geeky. I'm working on that. I do not have any vintage red lines, but I do have vintage Hot Wheels. Anthony, I don't know. I'm not sure, but if there's something going on, let me know. I've got the moderating stuff right here. So let's see. Yeah. So anyway, I think I'm caught up in the chat. Wow. I was working on this video about these Dollar Tree live action, or Dollar Tree, not live action, Dollar Tree Final Faction figures. And it was weird because I was noodling on it all day, and I was trying to write this script, and I was thinking about it. And it takes me a while to figure out how I go in on a subject. But it took me like the last 2 days, and I finally figured out what I want to say. But Tim and I were together today filming a new we're filming another movie review, and so we were busy with that all day. Let's see. Somebody had a question here. Octolux, I'll go look for it again. I assume it's under a different name. So if it's under Octolux, let me know. But if it's under a different name, that's also going to be a little challenging. You might want to tell me what the subject is. Yeah, they really need to go back to the source material in the comic is what they need to do. If they want to change the series of events for the challenges of the Joes, that's fine. But what they really need to be doing is adhering to the character dynamics and keeping the origins of the characters the same. And no, I'm not talking about that in any way other than the characters' personalities and everything like that. Larry Hama designed that really well, and if it isn't broke, don't fix it. Let's see. Chris Johnson, who we making mad tonight? Hopefully nobody. I'll be interested to see if anybody's mad at me, but I hope not. I haven't done anything to anybody. All right, let's see. Well, it's Michael Schaefer. Kenny Long says, I'll wait for Fandom Menace community reviews of Snake Eyes first. Not optimistic, though, but will gladly eat my hat if it looks good like Bumblebee. Yeah, the real tragedy of Bumblebee was that they tied it to the Michael Bay movies. If they'd really wanted to, renew and reinvigorate the franchise, they should have said it in the 80s like they did and, said, no, this isn't related to the Bumblebee movie. I think that would have been the most ideal thing to do. But it was weird. They hitched its wagon to a franchise they were trying to get away from. They were literally doing a soft reboot of the movie franchise, and they mucked it up again. I can hear the corporate suits now. Well, won't the audience be confused? No, you'll be confused because you're like a human, representation of the color beige, and you just get confused about everything. Let's see. Hey, Andrew, how you doing? Let's see. I think I missed a few here. Hold on. Oh, wow. Alan, thank you so much for the kind super sticker. I appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Gregory Tyler, how are you? Melinda, why are you mad? Do I need to come upstairs? So, all right. I have not tried Oliver making 3D printed parts on vintage toys. So no, I haven't tried that. But I know there are very talented people that do. Justin, yes, I did see that from Lio Convoy. Thank you. I very much appreciate that. Let's see. I feel like Timothy Ward is in the house. Timothy, you didn't have to do that. I was planning on just, rocking it, solo tonight, but because I didn't want to bother anybody, but if you're here, great. So, let's see. Jason, he says Hama gave the movie his approval, but he's kind of an ass. It's funny. Just a few months ago, I found it might have actually been last year. It's hard to remember. Somebody who's a friend of the channel was connected to Larry Hama, and I am somebody that, like, I don't get in. I'm not a starstruck person, so, like, I just naturally don't think about bothering. I see it as bothering people to ask for interviews or anything like that. Yeah, we did it with Janet Fielding from Doctor Who, and that worked out. But even afterwards, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this all the time, because people have weird attitudes about this stuff. And with social media having been around, especially YouTube, since 2006, I've learned that a lot of these celebrities of pop culture have gotten burned or annoyed or whatever you want to call it by already having been run through the ringer with all these other channels that have already, asked them the same 40 questions. What's your favorite line? What's your favorite story? What was it like working in the, the comics? And this guy was like, well, I think you'd be really good to interview, Larry. And I was like, well, that'd be great. But if you want to ask him, go ahead, but I'm not going to ask. And sure enough, he came back and he was like, yeah, Larry Hama doesn't want to give interviews anymore because he's tired of everybody asking him the same 20 questions. And I'm like, see, that's why I don't ask. So JSP, thank you so much for the super chat. He says Superman versus He-Man in a wrestling match. Who you got? I got He-Man. Also play Terminator Resistance. Closest thing to a true T3 that we deserve. Yeah, boy. How many attempts have we had at T3 so far? 1, 2, 3. What, 4? 4 already? At least 3, if not 4. And as far as Superman versus He-Man, I mean, if it was a friendly wrestling match, I don't know. I feel like it almost would be a tie, but then you throw in that whole solar light thing, but then you don't know what kind of sun they have on Eternia, so it's a whole thing. Let's see. Pedro says he's finding it increasingly difficult to get a hold of the B&M exclusive Doctor Who figures in the UK. Are you having any luck getting them in the US? I mean, through Amazon, but they're very late in showing up. But yeah, they do arrive. But I've seen a big gap between the last round with the Romana 2 redesigns and the second Sarah Jane. I haven't seen anything announced since then. I'm still waiting on my next UK Classic Collection Blu-ray set that's coming in June. Amazon UK finally sent me a release date of June 21st. So those things are always a chore for me to get because when I started getting them, it was fine. I just ordered them from Amazon UK and they were shipped. But ever since the lockdown, Amazon's been real squirrely about saying we don't ship to your region. So now I have to ship them to British friends and then have those British friends ship them to me. It's a whole thing, but I'm too far in to give up now. I can't just start buying the American Blu-ray cases. It'll be terrible. It's great if you started with the American cases because then they all look uniform, but a movie collector's OCD can only tolerate so much. Let's see here. My favorite version of Spider-Man Venom is probably from the John Romita Jr. era, but I also, well, John Romita, who solidified it, but I can't ever keep it straight if it was John Romita who was drawing him in the very early 80s or if it was John Romita Jr., whose art was pretty similar, if I recall. Those quintessential images of Spider-Man. I don't hate the McFarlane stuff and what McFarlane did to the character. I don't have a problem with that. I loved the Mark Bagley era, Eric Larson, and the guy who was doing Web of Spider-Man at the time, whose name I can never remember, in the early 90s. But as far as like my quintessential Spider-Man, it's that John Romita Jr. Spider-Man and his amazing friends kind of look, that classic look. Let's see. Yes, Steven, I did. And it is a coveted movie in my movie collection for not only being Steelbook and not only being Blu-ray, but because Kylie. Thank you so much for sending that. Big welcome surprise for sure. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up on some super chats here. Oh gosh, if I've missed some, let me know. Hold on. I'm going to go over to the dashboard and pull them up. Give me 1 second, everybody. I'm just going to pull this dashboard up because I don't want to miss anybody's chats. So supers, see all. Here we go. And we have Hey. Okay, thanks. All right, so we've got super chats from, sorry about this, guys. I'm just kind of clunking around here. The last super chat I can see is from Salvador, so I'll go to before that. Jay Famous says, rough year for toy hunters. Joe Fan 82 going nuts. HCC 788 on hiatus. Mercy's rep taking a hit. Still watching you, Timmer and Tony. Hope HCC is okay. Yeah, Jay, I haven't heard anything about that as far as the status update on that. But yeah, everybody wishes him well and hopes he's all right. I'll just do Sal's here real quick. Thank you so much, Sal. Very kind of you to send that super chat. He says, just because stream, just because super. Well, thank you so much. Your Triclops is fixed and it is on his way back tomorrow. I just wanted him to have 2 days to cure, but he is fully functional. You shouldn't have any problems. Obviously, fully functional in a display adult collection, fully mobile, everything like that, very durable. If you gave him to a 5-year-old, I can't guarantee anything, but for your purposes, he's just fine. So let's see. Matt Movies, thank you for the super chat. He says, if you caught any of Superman and Lois? No, only the first episode. I haven't seen anything else yet. But I do have HBO Max, so technically I should be able to see it. JSP. I read that one. Cool. So we can keep going. Mercer Create is the next super chat, I believe. Thank you for the super chat. He says, met Bob Budiansky, who wrote Transformers. Super nice guy. Awesome. Very, very cool. Let's see. Yeah, Dale, I did see the Revelation figures. My only thing is that how many different He-Man, Battle Cat, and Skeletors can we buy in a lifetime? I know you're a super fan of Motu, so you'll buy as many as they make, which is awesome. But for somebody like myself who worries that those 2 new lines coming out are going to end the Origins line right as it was getting going, it's like, well, they were actually starting to finally put out the different stuff. And, I know we got it in the 80s, but I mean, it's different stuff that looks like and is compatible with the vintage stuff. So I'm hopeful that, they will keep the Origins line going. But I have this feeling that they will end it. Related to that, Van Dan Rosario says, "What are your thoughts on Chris Hemsworth taking the role of He-Man?" Is that the news? I haven't been keeping up with it. Um, so what? Let's see. I've only gotten the Inspector Gadget toys. I've gotten Penny Brain, the gray coated. I'm looking at them right now. The gray coated gadget, the Gadget Mobile, and Dr. Claw carded with the face covering. Let's see. All right. Oh, hey, Stickfa, how are you? What brand of compound did you buy? Don't burn me in effigy, but I actually did a surgically precise application of JB Weld. And the reason I did that was because all of the two-part epoxies, all the plasti welds, everything I've tried to use, it never holds up. Whereas JB Weld, as long as it's hidden away so that you don't see that gray color, it holds up. I mean, you got to be careful with it, just like any other two-part epoxy, but I just like it the best. It's the only thing that really holds up to, you know, it's the only durable solution that I've found. Um, let's see. What do we got here? Nikki, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah, Unholy Passion. Walmart pre-orders are horrible. Let's see. Fox Mulder, speaking of Hama, any plans to do a video on the Bucky O'Hare comic cartoon? Yes, I am. I have all the toys now, and I plan to do that. Let's see. What do we got here? God, they're coming in fast. Yes, if I can mortgage my house to get the money to buy those, and then if they're available. I'd rather just go film somebody's collection for that. Let's see. J Famous 13. Thank you for the super chat. He says, of course, Hama approved the movie, but calling him an ass is uncalled for. I've never seen evidence of it. Yeah, Jay, again, everybody has different experiences with celebrities. Like I said, when I've met Hama in person, he was very nice. When the guy reached out, he wasn't very receptive. But again, I was reading a super chat from somebody. So let's see. As a matter of fact, Douglas, Salvador at 2 Cents Toys was able to find those for me, and they showed up in the shipment with his broken Triclops. So I will be reviewing that. Those. Let's see. Yeah, so I been working on this script about Final Faction, and whoa, everything jumped like it always does. Let's try this again. Matt Swafford. Matt, I have not gotten your box yet. But let me refresh this. I have not gotten your box yet, but I'm hoping to get it soon. Did you send it to the street address? Just trying to verify. Why is my camera not in focus? Let's see. So okay, so now we got, let's see. So Jim, let's see. Jim Largo, I know that you have a super chat down here. Wow, the chats are moving fast. Can you bring your cats on? I might be able to try. I don't know. They're all upstairs and they're not allowed in the studio except for cameos. Yeah, I'm going to do a retro collection one. Oh, Jim Largo, thank you so much. And thank you so much for the kind super chat. Movie Oubliette with Melinda was really cool. Yeah, if you guys like movie talk, there's really not a better movie podcast than Movie Oubliette. They are great. Just a great podcast. A lot of fun. I had such a blast being on there talking about Outland. And Melinda talks about Night of the Comet. Really, really cool. Let's see. Thunder Robots. Yeah, the Snake Eyes trailer shows it's going to be junk because he speaks. Oh, we have a cat. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Thunder. Yeah, I'm very skeptical of that. Jasper is here, so Jasper, say hi to everybody. Hi, Jasper. Jasper is a Maine Coon, and he's always getting into trouble. Hi, Jasper. Hey, Wilson, how you doing, man?
I feel like the Steve Irwin guy.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm a huge fan of JB Weld, and it was good enough for Paul Harvey. Yeah. I just heard about that Gojatron. I don't have a lot of opinions about it at the moment, but I hope it's great. I really do. Um, let's see. I have not heard of Bondic. I'm not sure what that is. Um, yeah, Walmart is bad about. That's why I don't do pre-orders with Walmart, and I also don't do pre-orders with Target. If I can't get it through a bigger one like Big Bad Toy Store like that, then I just wait for a deal on eBay if I can't find it in the store. Um, well, Super 7 Andre has been having problems launching anything at this point. I mean, they have been having real problems getting waves of Thundercats out. It's kind of embarrassing. Um, Darla, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you. Um, Codename New 202. Hello, Retro Blasting. Hey, for those of you that don't know, New 202 is a GI Joe channel run by this great friend of mine. I don't know if you still go by Shabu on the channel itself, and I don't want to give away your real name if that's something you're holding close to the vest. But for anybody that loves GI Joe, check out new 202 code name New 202. Great channel. Let's see. I thought I just answered that, but Lio Convoy Reviews. Good evening, sir. How are you? Great to see you here. We're just hanging out, just talking. Laser Pants from Infinity Equation Podcast. Wow, we have a lot of great YouTubers out in the chat tonight. I met Halma. He's very nice. A lot of people don't like his politics, though. It is what it is. Yeah, I met him twice in person, and he was just fine. It was only when somebody else on our behalf reached out for an interview that he was kind of terse. Dark Globe. I once saw Kylie. I assume you were meaning in person. That's awesome. I'm jealous. It's a bucket list goal of mine to meet her in person one day, I hope. The camera is actually in focus. Michael is naturally blurry. Yeah, I guess yeah. Let's see. What do we got here? Gosh, everything's moving. Yeah, you don't need cat hair in the collection, Wildstar. Oh yeah, her where the wild roses grow, I think is her duet with Nick Cave. Yeah, I know that they have a really great working relationship. And I have many copies of that song. I have, across all types of albums and compilations. So yeah. Van Dan Rosario. Yes, I speak to Analog Toys every day. Yep, it's Jasper. That was Jasper a few minutes ago. Whoa, Don Miles. Wow, thank you so much for this. Very, very kind man. Just because Don is a longtime friend of the channel, and I consider him a personal friend as well. Even though we've never met. And Don, we gotta talk more, man. I know you're a very busy guy too, but we gotta talk more. Let's see. Any interest in a vintage collection 3 3/4 inch? When you say vintage collection, I assume you mean the Hasbro collection that they're slowly paring down and not doing many of, even though they should. They do like 7 vintage collection figures a year now. I mean, I did talk about them in the Rogue One 2-parter that I did several years back. If you haven't seen that, I'd check it out. I give my thoughts on those. Let's see. All right. Oh, It jumped again. It always does that. Let's see. Where are we? Don, let's see. Oh, here we go. Um, Bearded Geek Toy Reviews. Thank you for the super chat. Oh, from the UK. Thoughts on the new, it's my favorite country. Thoughts on the new Marvel Legends 3.75 inch retro line, and do you have any? Keep up the good work. Love the channel. Jason, thank you. I do have a number of them in the studio right now that I picked up. Sal was able to get a few for me. And I also found a few others at Target about a month ago, I guess. I'm going to be doing a discussion about those, especially in light of how Hasbro treats the retro collection for Star Wars versus how they treat this retro Marvel line. The retro Marvel figures and packaging are so much better. Let's see. Yes, you are right, ODC. Target and Walmart have been whiffing, but I also feel like Hasbro and Mattel have some skin in that game. Favorite Voltron pilot from either Lion Force or Vehicle Force. Well, as I've become devoted to Beast King Golion, not to sound like a snob, but as I've become devoted to Beast King Golion as the original version, I guess my favorite pilots would be Shirogane, which is Sven, and Kogane, which is Lance. I mean, I like Kurogane Keith just fine, but yeah, Lyo's making a good point here. He says it's been almost 2 years since they announced Wave 2 of the Thundercats at Super 7, and for some reason they still can't get them out. Steven, yes, I have 2 new Star Wars follies in the making. I promised Mouse Planet when they did a very nice interview with me a few months back that the next Star Wars follies will be about the Imperial Star Destroyer playset, Darth Vader's Star Destroyer. And then after that, I have a very special big follies that I'm doing that will be on the level of the last 17. I'm hoping to do both of those this year. But as Lyo will jokingly tell you, I have a lot of good intentions that will always be followed through on, but I can't be held to a deadline. I guess in some ways, as much as I, was frustrated with George Lucas for waiting 16 years to do episode 1, as I get older, I start to realize I don't have as many valid arguments to have a beef with him about that. Let's see. Oh yeah, he's gotten big for sure, Tim. He's gotten big. So let's see. Let's see. Keep going here. Hervé, thank you so much for the super chat. I hope Origins keeps going. I do too. I only recently picked up Skeletor and Panther, which I missed out on as a kid in the 80s. Keep up the good work, Michael. I will, Hervé, and thank you so much for showing your support for the Origins line, because I know they're frustrating to get, and I'm not a Mattel pusher, as you know, but I have as soon as certain other figures reach these shores, particularly Fisto, who's already been seen in Malaysia, of all places, on store shelves, I'm going to be doing a special follow-up to my Origins original video. And I'm going to be talking about why, of all the modern toy lines, I'm fixated on getting all of the Origins action figures. Not so much the vehicles. I do want the Grayskull because it comes with a figure, the Sorceress, but I really want all the figures from that line, very much so. And I just belched on camera. Sorry about that. Let's see. Don't be modest. You have plenty of bad YouTubers here too. Well, anybody that's doing YouTube sincerely, and they're not out to game anybody, and they're not out to pull pranks, and they're not out to cause chaos, is a good YouTuber, regardless of what their production quality is. Yeah, production quality is important, but if somebody's being genuine and earnest, and they're showing integrity, then they're not a bad YouTuber. Let's see. Kevin, very kind of you, man. Thank you so much for that. Skookum, why would you think I have no love for Danny Minogue? I also like Sophie Ellis Bextor. I just happen to be known for being a big lifelong Kylie fan. Just because, like, It's let's just start throwing out band names right now. It's like, oh, Michael, no love for the Cars. Well, yeah. Hey, Michael, no love for Huey Lewis. Yeah. Hey, Michael, no love for the Journey. Yeah. I don't have any love lost or I don't have any hatred or dislike of Danny Minogue. I like her stuff a lot. Um, let's see. Randall, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Is there a toy line you wish existed but doesn't? For me, it would have to be Star Blazers. For me, a toy line that I wish I existed that didn't, probably Last Starfighter, and I feel like there's another one I'm missing out on. I just always wanted that gun star with the two pilots and all the opening hatches and stuff like that for the Death Blossom. Yes, ODC, I am going to JoeCon this year. I will be there. Bankman, thank you for the super chat. He says, Warner Brothers, hey, Batman the Animated Series is coming back. Fans, all right. Warner Brothers and J.J. Abrams is going to be involved. Fans, all wrong. Is J.J. Abrams involved? Because if he is, then I completely rescind what I said earlier and I'm out. Jay Famous, thank you for the super chat. He says, oh, I know the Hama comment was just a chat. Didn't mean to imply that was your opinion. Cool. Lighter subject, any chance of a Black Hole toy movie video? I would love that. I have Black Hole on Blu-ray from the Disney Movie Club. I'm a physical media collector. I know they have it apparently on 4K on Disney Plus, but from what I heard, it doesn't look any better. It's still unrestored. But yeah, I have a select few of the figures. I would like to get some more, although I know some of them are egregiously rare and hard to get. So that is the roadblock there. But yeah, I would love to do a Black Hole part 1 and part 2 for sure. Sometimes I wish I was, but I've never been. And I'm not a teetotaler. I just always have one drink. And it's always whiskey. Let's see. Oh, Robert Diaz, thank you for the super chat. Last week, Bobby Valla called Super 7 by its real name, Subpar 7. I love Bobby. He's a great guy. I can't wait to see his Action Force line when it comes out. It's going to be so good. I hope. I'm sure it will be. That wasn't shade. That's just me always kind of having that Gen X despair in there somewhere. My favorite whiskey, Andy Land, is my favorite whiskey from a sort of emotional. My emotional choice would be Old Overholt, simply because it's tied all the way back to Doc Holliday. But as far as like one of the best whiskeys, it's going to have to go to something over in Ireland or Scotland. I'm really very democratic when it comes to whiskeys. So that's probably not a good policy to have, but there, I admitted it. Yeah, don't worry, Tim. I never want to walk down that path. We're good. It's all good. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm working on have you tried getting rid of that smell by you put them in like a plastic tub, and this may or may not work. You elevate them in a plastic tub like on a little box or a riser, and then surrounding it like a moat, but you have to be able to put the lid on for a few days, and you put like coffee grounds around them or baking soda, not touching them, not that it'll hurt them, but just better so they don't stain the figure. But you just put like coffee grounds, like a moat around the elevated figure, and seal it up and leave it for a few days. It should absorb the smell. That's the best advice I've got so far. Let's see if we've got any further activity here. Oh, I guess we do, and it's probably going to jump. Let's see if it jumps. Probably will. Let me see here. I've got a few super chats here. We've got Nick Cage. Thank you for the super chat. He says, "Go treat yourself." I will. Thank you so much. RoboP says, "Love the X-Men Toy Biz episode. Any chance of a part 2 more? As there was the 90s X-Men toy line, including the awesome Blackbird, which separated into 3. Yes, Robo, I will be at some point talking about the 90s show and the 90s toys. There are so many, though, and they never quite completely line up with the show itself. Like, yeah, the Toy Biz relationship with the Marvel animated properties could be very scattershot, and then suddenly it would be really focused, for like 1 or 2 items. Black Cap, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Something I'd like to throw out. I decided to sell my Hot Toys Vader. They seem to be in no hurry to release the Bespin Luke Proto they showed in 19. Yeah, I've always been tempted to get a Hot Toys here and there, and I just never do. I just never pull the trigger on it. It's not because they suck or anything. It's just because they're so expensive. And I've heard about like the pleather cracking on some of the clothing, the skin permanently wrinkling if you have them posed. It's almost like you have to keep them dead in a coffin when you're not, just fiddling with them for photography. It just seems to be a real headache. Gunstar 1, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Amen to a toy Gunstar. I would kill, not literally, but I would love to have a 3 3/4 inch scale toy Gunstar. That would be awesome." Wolfie, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Michael, thoughts on the Abrams X-Wing they are going to hang from the ceiling of the Air and Space? I really wish it was an original." I totally agree, man. I can't believe that they didn't get one of the X-Wings from Rogue One that was an original to put down there. I think that was a huge, huge error on their part. But yeah, that's Disney being political. That's Kathleen Kennedy and Disney being like, same thing with the rectangular dish on the Millennium Falcon at Galaxy's Edge. They want the new stuff in there because corporate people can't get away from their branding. They don't think about legacies. They think about, well, we really want it to align with our brand. And it's like, everybody knows what the X-Wing is. You really need to be aligning with your legacy that you've inherited and not with your brand. So dumb. Brian Dillingham, will Broken Vader have a big role with Iconicon? Good question. Maybe he'll make an appearance, and I'm not even being cagey saying that. I'm honestly not sure. I don't know if he's opposed or not. Can't tell. Michael, I'm not sure if you're into collecting guns, but I think you would enjoy collecting older firearms. As a matter of fact, I do have, as a World War II enthusiast of the Allies. I want to make that very clear. I've always been big on the RAF. I've always been big on the guys on the ground like Band of Brothers and stuff like that. I'm since before Band of Brothers. Like I was growing up literally in and around the actual Memphis Belle when it was in Memphis. I have a few historic. I have my great grandfather's World War One 38 Colt. He trained biplane pilots in World War One here in the States, and I have his service revolver, his Colt 38 service revolver, and it's a family heirloom. And then of course I also have a few that I've bought over the years. I have a 1941 M1 Garand. I have I have a 1917 Webley Mark VI from World War One, the British pistol. So I have a few, but you are correct in that I do enjoy vintage firearms. Let's see. What's the deal with no COO? If you're talking about vintage Star Wars, there were just some action figures that didn't have a country of origin stamp on them. I mean, they made like 1 billion of those figures in factories all over Asia and Taiwan. I mean, there's gonna be a few batches that don't have everything done to them before they go out. I mean, it's just not possible. Let's see. Yes, Ra, we did talk about the trailer for Snake Eyes. Like I said, I always wish the movie well. I have no immediate issues with the film. What I have an issue with is the way Hasbro and the G.I. Joe franchise in live action have been handled. I feel like I've been burned twice on that. So I'm 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 not cautiously optimistic. I'm just keeping my mind off of it. I'm waiting for somebody to tell me, "Oh yeah, it's great," and somebody that I know whose opinions, I know are, not like, for example, Tim Witten, who's my good friend here on Retroblasting. If he tells me that Snake Eyes is really great, I'm actually going to go, because his favorite Star Wars movie is Attack of the Clones. And he knows that, and we joke about that. But if it's somebody else that I know, that I've done a lot of movie discussions with, that tells me, it's good, then I'll feel a little better about going. But I'm really in a wait and see pattern with that. It's Hasbro. We'll just have to wait and see. So yeah. Let's see. Ba, 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 ba. Oh, I'd like Cold Slither. They've only got one song with like 2 lyrics or 3 lyrics. There's not much to them. As a matter of fact, there was a Masters of the Universe video that I was wanting to do that involved Cold Slither, funnily enough. But I'm still working that one out, so I don't want to say too much about it right now. I have not, but I have one that needs restoration. It has all the parts, I just need it to radio control again. Um, what is my favorite collectible? Well, I like the fact that you said collectible. I really do. A lot of people ask, toy, something like that, but I like the fact that you've, really said of everything, what's your favorite collectible? Um, I've collected a number of different things from retro and history and all that kind of stuff. It's hard to say I have emotional favorites, but then I also have, I don't know how to describe it. I have like favorites that really make me go, yee, like I achieved something, So like an emotional favorite would be my mint yellow Force lightsaber from Kenner, which was a reacquisition because my childhood one all, got beaten up or whatever. One would be my, Bespin Luke Skywalker from childhood, which is right behind me, right. How do I move? Right there. That's an emotional, that's my Millennium Falcon right there from when I was a kid. So I have like a lot of emotional favorites. But I also have ones like, I love the fact that I have the Snake Eyes sword, the actual like version 2 famous Snake Eyes falchion, in functional steel from master replicas or museum replicas, I think it was. I love the fact that I was able to get, really nice Graflex hilts of Luke Skywalker's lightsaber from The Empire Strikes Back that are replicated Graflexes and not just a purpose-built replica like master replicas. But yeah, so I have a few things like that that are really cool for me. So yeah, I have a few favorites. Honestly, I have a few. My Shokasugi Ninjato is one of my favorite collectibles, and Melinda found that for me, a functional recreation of Shokasugi's Ninjato sword from all of his ninja movies. That's a huge one for me. So yeah, there's a lot of different things like that. Let's see. Jack Lord, thank you for the kind words. And yeah, we're all wondering. We're all wondering. Oh, it jumped again because that's what it does. I'm going to have to refresh this again and see if I missed anybody, because it jumps. And then the next thing I know, I don't have them all. Okay, Broken Vader. RF Biker Scout, thank you for the super chat. He says, thoughts on Batman 89 or Superman 78 comics coming? I think it's cool. I never did get the Wonder Woman 76 or 77 comics they made. But I think it's neat that they're doing them. I think they should do them because right now nothing else is holding people's attention. They've played too long with courting the older generation. They didn't keep their focus. They lost the plot, and that's the problem. The plot is keeping everything oriented for kids from, about the age 8 to adolescence, and everybody else just picks it up as a lifelong habit. But now they're like, no, we're going to age all this away from those kids. Well, now you've just lost the next generation of buyers, and now you've lost, lifelong generational familiarity with this stuff. Well played, guys. Let's see. Isaiah Smith, thank you for the super chat. Have you ever considered collecting the Star Wars comic pack figures such as Exar Kun and Ulic Keldroma? Yeah, I have a few disparate ones. I think I have like an X-wing pilot who's a girl from a comic pack, and I've got a few different figures from those comic packs. But there's so many to go track down, and I wasn't buying them back in the aughts when they were out. So no, I haven't really done that. Andrew Sabina, thank you for the super chat. He says, any desire for the first McFarlane Spawn figure for the collection? I mean, there were so many of those made. Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to having one in the collection for sure. Lio Convoy Reviews says, let's see if this super chat is visible here. I think it is. This one. Here we go. Lio Convoy Reviews, thank you for the super chat. He says, how about a Broken Vader the Bird insult off for Iconicon? Pre-recorded, of course. I think that would be Broken Vader's lane right there for sure. I don't know if he's as witty as the Bird, but I think we'll see. We have to put him to the test to find out. Chrissa, thank you for the super chat. How can I send something to you? We have a P.O. box. That's very kind of you to ask. We do not solicit donations. You don't have to do that. But if you would like to, we do have a P.O. box. If you email us at retroblasting@gmail.com, I'll be happy to send you that P.O. box address. But thank you for thinking of us. I got to touch a B-17 in an air show about 10 years ago. Had to be dragged away from it. Yeah, I've been in flights in 2, and I've been around multiple ones. And I do have the rare privilege of being able to say that I have sat in the cockpit of and operated the yoke and rudders of the actual Memphis Belle that is now in the Smithsonian. Not the one that flies around occasionally that's painted up to look like the original. That one is actually one that was used in the movie in the 90s. And then he accurized it further to make it look more like the legit Memphis Belle. But people get confused. The legit Memphis Belle is now in the Smithsonian. I was there for its unveiling back in 2018. That's right, 2018. And yeah, when it was in Memphis, my grandfather knew all the people that maintained it. And I was able as a kid to go in there, and I have pictures of me in the Memphis Belle, which is a crazy thing to think about. Let's see. Venkman, thank you for the super chat. He says, yes, for BV and the Bird, but I'd still love to see Michael Skeletor have a conversation with Lio Convoy's Mumra. What would they talk about? Let's see. Laser Pants, there are a few things that can compare to firing a World War II M1. That is true. That is absolutely true. Brings you closer to history. Thank you, Mark. My week is going well. Thank you so much. Oh man, I'm so sorry, Acid Sausage, that you're not allowed to leave the house, but I hope that lets up soon. I really do. Chad, I already weighed in on the Snake Eyes teaser twice. I'm sorry you missed it, but like I said, I'm just waiting for friends to tell me if the movie's any good. I put no stock in Hasbro at this point. Fat Rob, hey Michael, you mentioned at 1980 in a post somewhere, let's talk synthwave. What other artists you rocking these days? I listen to a lot of new retro wave on YouTube, all those artists. And like I listen to whatever comes along as far as that. I haven't really educated myself on the different retro wave artists. There are a number that I really like. I talked about some like at 1980, of course. There was another one I really liked. It was who was that? At 1980, and there was somebody else who was it was a female artist. I can't remember who she is, but she's really good too. But yeah, I need to educate myself more on the artists that are hot in synthwave right now. Yeah, I want to pick that up, Douglas, when it comes out. I'm ready to buy that, but the question is, have they set a date for it? Are they even pre-ordering for it? So far, it's just been a teaser online every time I've checked. Let's see. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Dustin. What is your opinion on the guys that buy up vintage figures and melt them in acetone? I am not somebody that likes to watch that kind of wanton destruction. I know there are YouTube channels that are like, we're gonna wreck things and it's funny, and it's like, well, that's fine if it's like an IKEA dresser or something that's cheap and flat packed or whatever. But if it's rare collectibles like that, that kind of sucks. Do I find those guys funny when they're doing best of the worst? I absolutely do. I hope they never do a video like that again. I hope that their statement is made and they just move on from it. But no, I'm not a fan of wanton destruction. Uh, do I own any vinyl records? Yes, I have a number of vinyl records. We do have a few reissues, and I also have a number of original pressings. Most of my vinyl collection, not surprisingly, are Kylie albums. Let's see. Oh, it jumped again. Let's see what I missed. Jumped again. Okay, here we go. So, Carl, thank you for the super chat. He says, we'll hopefully get a Gunstar if the Last Starfighter sequel gets greenlit. Do you have a Kylie collection cabinet? In the last, I believe it was in the last studio tour, I think I showed off the Kylie corner, which is over my editing suite, my editing workstation. It's not a suite, it's a corner, but I call it Kylie corner, which is now sort of a Kylie booth. It's like a shelf that goes over the computer, and then there's some posters on the walls. But yeah, and I also have. That's one of my most treasured collectibles. Is going back to that question, I have a piece of artwork from an artist named Michel Amadesi, which is it's a painting. It's a painting of Kylie as a Jedi, which I thought was hilarious. And so I bought a print of that, and I bought a print and 2 T-shirts of that. And right as I bought them, like he'd only had the artwork up on I think it was Redbubble for like an hour, and then suddenly Disney went after it, and it's like, this is transformative work. Like, this is not. And Disney was like, no, and Redbubble was like, okay, and so they pulled it down. And so apparently I'm like the only person in the world that has a archival print framed in my studio of that artwork. So that's not a brag. It's just weird to think about. And it's not a brag because probably there'd be very few people that would want that artwork besides me. I know there's maybe a few others, but not many. Let's see. The bell is at the U.S. Air Force Museum in Dayton. Where's the confusion? It was in Memphis for many decades. Now it's in Dayton. Full stop. Let's see. I have a feeling Skeletor and Mumra would talk about a world takeover. Probably. Arjun, Michael, is there something you're most proud of in life, RB related or otherwise? I'm proud of the work that I did when I was a kid, restoring the air tower at RAF Bassingbourn in the UK, which was where the Memphis Belle flew out of during the war. I restored the radio room for the 50th anniversary of the Memphis Belle's final mission as a Eagle Scout project. I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that this channel has been going on 9 years as of yesterday, I think. Is that right? Yesterday. And we've been able to do things our way, and we haven't given in to pandering. We haven't given in to corporate, promotions. We've staved off every loot crate solicitation that's come our way. I think they've finally gotten the hint to not approach us anymore. That's probably one of my biggest. I'm really proud of that. And yeah, I'm proud that I've maintained my independence on YouTube. I haven't given in to third-party networks. I haven't given in to all the different people coming at me wanting me to, basically huck their wares. So yeah, and I'll tell you that sometimes that can be. It's not for me because Melinda will tell you I'm very stubborn. But what I mean to say is I can see why that would be enticing or appealing to, any content creator on YouTube just trying to gain a foothold, because it's really, really hard to be out there and not blunt your opinion in the hopes that Hasbro may be watching and maybe they'll smile down upon you. Maybe my blessing is that I have no F's to give in that regard. But I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I've been able to stick to my principles. That doesn't make me a saint. As a matter of fact, you get a lot of bruises from doing that. That's not me saying I'm a victim either. I can take it. I'm willing to play this game, and I'm willing to play this game by not playing this game, and I'm willing to take the punishment that comes from that. And there is punishment, trust me. But yeah, I think that's what I'm most proud of. Let's see. Oh, Ryan, you're welcome. Thank you for the live stream, Michael, making my boring Thursday night a lot better. Yeah, I was kind of in that place too. It was kind of like, why don't I just do a live stream? We'll see how it goes. Alec, hey, Retro Blasting crew, thank you all for not sucking. You're welcome. I hope to continue to not suck. Retro Blasting, have you seen the new Adobe character animation software? I have heard about it. Melinda was telling me about it, as a matter of fact. And I guess she's hoping that maybe we can apply that feature at some point to maybe some graphics that we work on or something like that. She seemed very interested in that. I promise you, Tripoli, I will never give in to the jerk bullies. I promise. Promise. Let me reload the super chats and see if we're caught up on those. We are not caught up yet. It's been a little jaggy tonight with those. Let's see. Billy the Dog Bob says, do you have an updated opinion on G.I. Joe Classified regarding their looks? Not talking about distribution and production numbers. They're looking better. Unfortunately, they need to do immediate revisions on Roadblock, Duke, and Scarlet. And I think we can't talk about these unless we talk about the production and distribution numbers, because you can make them look better all day. But if you're creating exponentially more demand than you're delivering, there's still no point. Because right now, the incentive for scalpers to go get those things before anybody else can grab them is immense. And so there, you saw the way those Major Bloods were going for insane amounts of money on eBay. That's something that Hasbro could mitigate, and they're refusing to. Right now, scalpers have every incentive to take them from you because they're so few. The production volumes are criminally low. So them improving their appeal is only going to continue to hurt them in the long run, meaning Hasbro as a company, if they don't get their act together. I think it was Mattel the other day was saying, we hear you about the distribution issues with the Motu Origins. We are going to get more of these into the hands of consumers. And they don't even have the distribution problems. It's bad, but it's not even close to G.I. Joe Classifieds. Look, yeah, the Lady J and Flint look better. Yeah, Major Blood looks better. Yeah, they're not the train wreck Fortnite things, but they've already hitched their wagon to Fortnite too, officially with G.I. Joe. So how many of those things are going to get thrown into the classified slots? I'm putting all of my interest right now into, as far as military, I'm putting my interest in Marauders Task Force for 3 3/4 inch and Action Force for 6 inch. I'm going to ride those trains because those things are being made possible to acquire. Prozac Man, thank you for the super chat. He says, let's see. He says, what toys do you want the most that you haven't owned yet? Well, good question. If there was a toy I wanted the most that I don't own yet, it would probably be the black hole stuff, like Old Bob and the humanoid, those figures, but that's a very tall order. Very tall order. Brian Dillingham, which directors give the best commentary on movies? Brian, I would go with Sylvester Stallone. I would go with Nicholas Meyer's first commentary on Star Trek II. I would go with this is obscure, but it was a really good commentary. If you see the Heath Ledger movie, The Four Feathers, the commentary on that DVD from the director is excellent. Really, really insightful. The other one I really liked was the commentary on the Sneakers Blu-ray from the writers of Sneakers. Great, great, great commentary for sure. And these things are coming in fast and furious, so let me grab them again. So Jim Largo or Anthony Whitehead says, just for the love of Kenner toys. And thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate that. Jim Largo, thank you for the super chat. He says, no F's to give. Cold Slither's next single with Broken Vader singing lead vocals. Jack, I don't know how you want to couch that. I'm not, this channel leaves a lot of politics on the cutting room floor because so many fan channels have become politicized and retroblasting is not politicized. That's not to say that I'm offended by your question in any way. I'm not, but I want to maintain a place where everybody is welcome. Because I have friends, very, very good friends on both sides of what people would call these political spectrums. And I don't value or love people for their political beliefs. That's a terrible way to make friends, just like it's a terrible way to make friends by making sure that they agree with you on if you like certain franchises or fandoms or toy lines or not. I like people around me who are honest and who make me laugh and who I can share good memories with and who create good memories. And people who, know that, they trust you and they give you the benefit of the doubt and they have your back. I don't align my friendships with political beliefs because those aren't the full summation of a person. I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm just using that as a springboard to talk about how polarized this stuff is. I'm not implying that you were saying that at all. But that's why retroblasting isn't political in that respect. Do we all have our political beliefs? Sure, we all do. But that's not a way to build relationships. Not that I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm just giving you my worldview on that stuff because you were kind of asking me that. I am not forgetting Final Faction Wildstar. I'm doing that video this week. I'm actually working on the script right now to talk about Final Faction for sure. And yes, Marauders is an awesome line, Todd. It's really, really good. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, Lord, it moved again. Monkey Boy, thank you for the super chat. He says, a small token of appreciation for your integrity through all the current BS in the community. We've always got your back, dude. Thank you, Monkey Boy. Appreciate that. I know there are others that appreciate that as well. Thank you so much for having a clear head and being able to recognize what's in front of your face. And I mean that sincerely. That was not me being glib. Let's see. Lio Convoy, thank you for the super chat. He says, oddly enough, the Fortnite thing made it to where there's now a comic where Batman and Snake Eyes team up. It's actually pretty good. Like I said, I recognize the popularity of Fortnite. My thing is G.I. Joe's Classifieds line at first was trying to thread that needle, and now they're trying to walk it back as fast as they can. But you've got these key figures that look like garbage, and even with the repaints, they don't look that great, and they're still too hard to find. So I haven't bought a single one, and I don't care to buy one. I finally saw the other day on a peg, I saw a Zartan, and I just kept walking. Why? Because I'm not a scalper, and I'm not going to buy into that line. I've got all my Joes from the 80s, and I'm just going to focus on Action Force from here on out. Something new, something different, I didn't even know Major Blood was coming out until the first Facebook post came out, and by that time it was too late. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy what they're doing. Yep, Sneakers is a great, great commentary on a great movie for sure. Let's see. Arthur Lowery, thank you for the super chat. Very kind of you, sir. Scuba Pete is online. He is online. We should all know that Scuba Pete is here. He is a very positive force in the toy collecting community. Michael is a conservative liberal. I got a story to tell you guys. So and maybe this will also help answer this question from a second ago about what I identify with. So a few years ago, uh, this was like 2018. Yeah, this is 2018. Um, in 24 hours, I had people coming at me on one social media portal, calling me a gutless libtard. Not because I'd done anything, but because in my Solo video where I talked about Solo, the movie, and I was talking about the problems at Lucasfilm, people weren't happy. 2 or 3 people were mad that I didn't use certain jargon in the video, even though I didn't use the jargon because I was focused on a completely different cause for the problems. It was like, if you don't use this jargon, then you're a gutless libtard. And I'm like, what? But within the same 24 hours, somebody on Twitter called me an alt-right racist. And I looked over at Tim Witten and I was like, I'm either doing something really right or I'm doing something really wrong. And we had a big laugh about it. I think people get angry when they can't pin somebody down, even though you're being genuine. People just can't. If they can't pin you down and put you in a box, they feel threatened. It's hilarious. It's really hilarious. So yeah, it's lunacy. It's what it is. Yeah, and like Tim says here, let's not bring politics and religion into it. Causes more problems than it solves. Exactly. Exactly. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh, it moved again. It moved on me. All right, here we go. Randall, thank you for the super chat. He says, recently picked up a retro Luke Snowspeeder figure. Is it just me, or does the blue lightsaber just seem off? I thought that for a little while. However, if the retro Snowspeeder figure was brought out in the Kenner line during the Power of the Force era, it's possible, because they made the blue lightsaber accessory by that point for Jedi Luke accidentally, that they would package him with it. So that was my rationale. And that's why I have him up there, because I treat him like a 1985 Power of the Force figure or 86. And then my brain can process it. Raymond was before that. Raymond, thank you for the very kind super chat. He says, hey, Michael, always love retro blasting content and the integrity and passion you consistently put into it. Keep going. For retro blasting is something worth seeing on YouTube. Thank you. Oh, and to Brie Larson as Mara Jade. I was really disappointed to find out that rumor was going around, but I've heard a lot of rumors, and I hope it's just a rumor. Mara Jade's one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars movies or expanded universe or anything, and she would not be my choice for a movie. But then I have to keep telling myself anything that Disney does with Mara at this point is not going to be reflected in the actual original Zahn mythology. So then I just psychologically divorce myself from worrying about it. Let's see. I love Michael's stories. Melinda does sometimes too. Aaron sometimes thinks they're too long. So little inside baseball there with the crew. Venkman, thank you so much for the kind super chat, man. He says, what toys looked great in the prototype phase, but the finished product had changes that made no sense? I've seen early Toy Fair photos of the Playmates original series crew, where Kirk could hold his phaser perfectly in his right hand. Yeah, especially given those beefy hands that the Playmates figures had. They were like, "Urgh." It's weird that for the original series, original Trek figures, they suddenly opened the hands up to where they couldn't hold anything. Like Worf and Data, they've got these hands that are just like, "Urgh." And that would have been perfect for those, traditional grip phasers, but they messed up. And then as far as prototypes for me, the most recent one, I felt like the prototype head for the Black Series Luke Skywalker Dagobah training Luke was so much better in the photos than it was in the production version. I was like, wow, I was really having high hopes for it. And then it showed up in stores and I was like, yeesh, like It's not a total disaster, but it's not the home run that the prototype was. I mean, I was like, wow, that looks good. Whereas, I just ran across the Katie Sackhoff Bo-Katan figure from Mandalorian, and I was like, that looks so good. I've never even watched the show. I've just seen photos of her as Bo-Katan. So I picked it up because I was like, that actually looks like Katie Sackhoff. Like that's really impressive. So I bought that. So yeah, sometimes they hit home runs, and sometimes, like with Mark Hamill, they're still just having a hard time. Um, Let's see. Love sneakers. I seem to recall James Earl Jones line slips into the end of the movie and steals the scene with a bunch of one-liners. Yes, James Earl Jones has a great extended cameo at the end of that film, a great feature cameo. Are you calling me that? Or what are you doing there? Um, let's see. What are some of your favorite making of movie documentaries? Some of my favorite making ofs, they're the weird ones. Like if you look at the documentary that recently came out about the Marlon Brando's Island of Dr. Moreau, that is a crazy making of. It is more entertaining by far. I mean, that's not saying much because the movie's a disaster, but the making of is actually crazy good. Like because the movie was so crazy. The making of the movie is more interesting than the movie itself. Um, as far as movies that are good, where the making ofs are good as well. Um, I loved the making of documentary on the reconstruction of the Big Red One with Mark Hamill and Lee Marvin. I thought that was a fascinating documentary that showed how that movie got lost in the edit and corporate meddling. I loved the making of for oh gosh, it just lost me because I'm getting old. What was the one I was just thinking of? I'll come back to it as soon as I think of it. I'll say it out loud. Um, Let's see. So I'm just going to make sure that we have everything caught up. So, Michael, do you think you guys will ever get a Hobbit first edition? Knights of Old, that is a very, very expensive book. And no, I don't think I'll ever have a first edition of that. Um, Yeah, back in the late 80s, I was able to find some of the Empire Strikes Back figures at yard sales, but as far as now, I don't go to a lot of yard sales. I don't have time because I'm always making videos. Other people are going to yard sales, and I thank my stars that they're doing that because I tend to benefit in the eBay sales and stuff and in the online sales from things people find. When I say benefit, I don't mean that I get a deal. I just mean that other people are finding the gems and then a lot of them are putting them up for sale, which means, yeah, I'm not getting the yard sale deal, but maybe the last yard sale deal that I got was one of the rarer Trobits from Black Star. I found at a yard sale through a friend. It was a local yard sale, but yeah, that's probably one of the ones that I was thinking of. Um, let's see here. All right, so we have a very kind super chat from Gavin. Gavin, love your channel. Thank you so much. He says, just discovered it. Any chance on covering the Toy Biz Batman DC stuff? Yeah, and thank you for the message on Messenger. I will be doing a Batman. At first, years ago, I wanted to do what was going to be called Burton's Batmobiles. And it was just going to be about all the different Burton Batmobile toys. But as things happen at Retro Blasting, I suddenly decided, well, I'm going to get the bat wings and I'm going to get some more of the figures and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Next thing I knew, I had a whole Batman animated collection and I'm still sort of picking through the Batman movie stuff to try and get a core sampling of it. But yeah, I want to do that at some point for sure. Let's see. Kal-El, I was wondering if you saw Toy Polloy's recent video where he talks about writing for Fusion, a retro computing magazine. I haven't seen that video, but it doesn't surprise me that he's doing that because he's a really, really smart guy. Um, let's see. Derek, I'm glad it's a nice surprise to come home to. Truly. Uh, oh, and thank you for the kind words, Dirty. The rebuilds. If you're talking to me, you could be maybe Toy Polloy's in the chat, and I don't know it. But thank you. I do enjoy doing rebuilds. Ronan Medic, thank you for the super chat. He says the solo video is what made me a patron. Oh, that's good to know. I'm glad you are who you are and that it's reflected in your channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate that truly. It's always interesting out there in cyberspace, isn't it? Prozac Man, thank you for the super chat. He said best commentary track is Kevin Smith's commentary on Clerks, the animated series. He spends the whole time ripping on the network executives on the show. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that's true. Left Coast Graphics. What is your most wanted retro Star Wars action figure and why? Collect them all. Now, when you say retro, do you mean the new retro figures or do you mean the vintage figures? Because when it comes to the retro figures, at one point or another, I've had them all in the studio. I sent the New Hope based Star Wars retro collection to Tim Ward, our retroblasting he's part of the retroblasting team and he's our great moderator. I have the Empire collection. I have the Mandalorian collection, except for that Stormtrooper that comes in another board game, which I guess I'll get him at some point. But yeah, I have them all. As far as a vintage collection figure, I'm slowly getting to the end of that as well, but more on that in a future video. Yeah, I get that, Wild Star, that you're more concerned about who's in charge of the project. I am too. That's always a factor. Writer and director is always my first factor. However, in this particular case, I do not think that Brie Larson embodies Mara Jade any more than I thought Kirsten Dunst embodied Mary Jane Watson. I just did not think she was a good pick for that, and I don't think Brie Larson would be a good pick for Mara Jade. Let me see here. So, Dominic, yeah, I think I just answered that, but yeah. Wow, there's the yard sale thing again. I wonder how it jumped that far. Let's see. Hitchvilles, thank you for I'm stumbling over my words. Hitchville, thank you for the kind super chat. Hey man, thank you for continuing to stay above and beyond most content creators. That being said, where are we at with the DeLorean? Money Pit, do you drive it? All the best, dude. The DeLorean is currently in the garage and it's covered up and it's protected. It does crank and run just fine. The clutch has gone in it, not the clutch itself, but the clutch master cylinder has gone. Fortunately, I have the replacement parts for that already. What I'm waiting on right now, as crazy as it is to say, I'm waiting on trying to get a lift. I need a lift in my garage because I do all the work on my DeLorean myself except for the air conditioning, because you need a license to do that. But I need a lift. And until that happens, there's not going to be a lot of work done on the DeLorean right now because the transmission needs to come down. It needs to be dropped, which is a big job so that some seals can be replaced. A DeLorean is like any classic car in the sense there's always something to work on. The difference is that a DeLorean is a notoriously problematic car compared to other classic cars. All classic cars are problems. The DeLorean was a problem when it was new. So it is a labor of love. And right now, I just consider myself, I had 4 good years driving it with not too many problems. And now I'm protecting it until I can get it back on its wheels. But it does crank and it does run as far as the drivetrain goes. Let's see. Yeah, Hearts of Darkness, Jason, is a great documentary. That's a great making of for sure. My favorite comedy, Impossible Pie. What is my favorite comedy? My favorite comedy, Melinda would beat me up for this because she knows that I always forget to buy comedies when I buy movies. I always just forget. What is my favorite comedy? Bringing Up Baby with Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn is a good one. but I don't know if that's my favorite. I love Anchorman. Um, I don't know. I haven't given that enough thought, but I will. I'll give that more thought and I will get back to you. Let's see. Well, Colt, on Redbubble, you do get to keep your own artwork. Um, I did some reading on this a few days ago. You will keep your own artwork. The only thing you have to worry about is fan art, because fan art is something that they can take off of their website because they'll say that a content creator or a corporation said no to that, and then they pull it down. But from what I understand, if it's your own original artwork and you're putting it on stuff, Redbubble doesn't take ownership of it. But read the fine print first. But my understanding is Redbubble lets you keep your artwork. Dude, you're not getting old. That's coming from someone that's only a year older than you and who has more gray hairs than you. I will keep that under advisement, Tim. I promise. Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, the first attempt at Dune with I can never pronounce his last name. Fodorowski, Jodorowsky. Yeah, that is a really good one. I'm glad you brought that up. Um, you aren't getting old until a knee won't bend. Then you're old, and you're me. Let's see. Good morning from Perth, Australia. It's good evening here, and yeah, good morning, Ross Hound. Great to see you. Um, Happy accident. Michael French, your our Retro Blasting Museum tour videos, handheld style, makes me and some of my friends queasy. Would you consider reshooting it and including more locked frame shots? Um, it would take me like a week to shoot all of that in locked frame, because you're talking about, I don't even have tripods that are short enough to get down there. So you have to understand there's no way to do that economically. That's why I did it handheld, because that's really the only way to do it and it not take a month. Um, Maybe on the next one I'll try and figure something out, but I never can figure out the internet. Like when it comes to YouTube, I can't figure it out, because there are people who um they love those ASMR videos where people are talking really softly about all this kind of stuff. Like this is a Blu-ray, and oh my gosh, look at this stuff in the Blu-ray. Oh, it's like it's weird. And then I guess there's people who get roller coaster sick when cameras do a thing or not. And then I guess there's people who, can't see strobe lights or whatever. And I mean, I just don't know how I would do that with this. I guess I could back up and just point the camera at the thing, but you wouldn't be able to see anything. I'll have to think about that. I'm not really sure. Uh, yeah, I don't. The card stocks on them are terrible. They really are, Eric. Especially when the Kenner Marvel ones are really nice, and the figures are nicer too. Let's see. This is gonna jump because I knew it. Let's see. Racer, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Did you ever get into Britain's toy nights from the 70s and 80s?" Yeah, there's some of the few toys I don't know where they ended up. I had a whole bucket full of them with a catapult and everything, and I was buying them in Britain at the time, and they're gone. I don't know what happened to them. I assume maybe my brother ended up with them because he's more into fantasy and role playing. Maybe he's got them, but I haven't seen them in decades. It's a real shame. Um, oh yeah, Wayne's World. We have that on Blu-ray as well. I forget about all the comedies we do have. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark is technically a comedy. Peter Venkman, thank you for the super chat. Any advice on how to transfer old home movies on VHS over to digital? Yeah, you need a VCR. That's not me being sarcastic, but you need a VCR, and then you need either like a Black Magic intensity shuttle device, or you need like a USB thing that will hook into the VCR, and then you have like prepackaged software that will then let that um, be captured, because you have to then capture it through your software. Did you see the NECA Dune figures? I'm not surprised. I don't buy anything NECA at this point because they're fragile trash, and their quality control is terrible. I'm not going to put my money with NECA. They're just not good products. And then let's see here. Oh, M. Ross, thank you for the super chat. He says, Michael, when it comes to movies, what are your thoughts on classic 70s B movie Legend of Boggy Creek, childhood trauma? Melinda loves the Mystery Science Theater of Legend of Boggy Creek 2. But yeah, I haven't seen the original. I'm sure Melinda has. I'm sure she could talk about it, but I've never seen the original. I'm sure it's bad because Legend of Boggy Creek 2 is not much better. What happened to Joe Fan 82? I don't know. He kind of tweaked out on Twitter. He was saying some extreme things. He was tying us to it in tags, and it was getting very disturbing. And the next thing we knew, he had pulled his Twitter and YouTube down. Beyond that, I don't know. Absolutely happy. You're welcome. And like I said, I will make an attempt to figure out how to shoot this somehow. But it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult trying to lock shots for all those. I tried to go slow as I could. I really did. I didn't think it was that shaky. MMA Panda, Michael, I say you're not old till you can't take care of yourself properly. Liked your videos explaining Robotech. You're well. Thank you very much, and you're right. Wow, Michael's physical media ASMR. I find ASMR weird. I don't understand it. When I was on Echo Base Network the other night, they were announcing that they were going to start an ASMR channel, and I'm like, I love those guys. There's nothing. I'm not trying to insult them or anything, but I was odded out. I was weirded out because clearly there's some kind of vocal demand for ASMR content about everything, and apparently for Star Wars news or something. I don't get it. It's like, what's your first video about spoons? I don't know how you work that in. It's weird. I just find it weird. Look, to each their own. I'm not saying it's harmless. There's nothing dangerous about it. But it is. I don't understand the phenomenon there. It's like the brony thing. I'm not saying that they're even at all the same magnitude. It's just my reaction is the same. It's like biscuit. I don't understand what that's all about. Michael, can you do the stuff that I want you to do? Yes, Keith. That reminds me, I got a package to put in the mail for you. Sorry about that. It's been delayed a few days. Things this week have been crazy. Sorry about that. I'll get that package out when I send out Sal's and Scuba Pete's parts. Matthew, hoping you were working on some more Star Wars Follies. Great work. Yes, I'm working on 2 Star Wars Follies. But right now I'm working on Bionic 6. I'm scripting the Star Wars Follies. I'm working on Bionic 6 because I have to get that out by July. What did Jason say? I got to see this. Things are going by so fast. Retroblasting ASMR. Michael scrubs a toy with a toothbrush for a half hour. Yeah. People who love weird sounds and stuff like that. They're and Wilson says retroblastimar. Yeah. Damien, camera gimbals. I have one for my smartphone. They can be just as motion intensive as just holding a camera. Especially when you're having to go backwards and forwards like a typewriter. And then when you get to the bottom, you got to stand up. There's going to be that transition and someone's going to hork on the other end. It's just apparently there's some stomach sensitivities to it. But the point is that when I'm on my feet and I'm kneeling back and forth, there's going to be whooshes and blurs, and there's no way to not have that happen. There's just no way. Oliver, she has a My Little Pony case in her office. But she doesn't have like a full-on collection. She has like a strawberry shortcake house and a few other things, but she hasn't done much with them at the moment. Let's see. Well, and it jumped again. Let's see. Where did we go here? Okay, here we go. Horror fan. We made the vintage X-Wing video restoration so that it would educate everybody on how to do that. Now, once that's completed, we're hoping with those videos that you guys will feel empowered to then restore your toys yourself, because we've given you the information. I don't know if you feel like you're just not capable, and I'm not insulting you. I'm being very sincere. You don't feel like you're good enough with tools or anything to do that, but I would hope that, because getting to know how your toys work and your collectibles work is really, really enriching, and it's important. I hope that you will maybe consider finding the courage to do that yourself, because that's what brings you closer to a different level of appreciation with your collection, rather than just buying something and then setting it there and then just looking at it. No, Jason, I get what he's saying, but I have a gimbal. I already have one, like I said. And it still has shake, and it still has, I'm still physically going to have to move around with that gimbal. My feet, my knees, everything is going to have to get low and then stand up. And a gimbal's not going to be slow with that. A gimbal's going to be just as like, and we're going up now, and it's going to go. I don't think you guys are understanding what I mean. I've used a gimbal. I used a gimbal at San Diego Comic-Con. I know exactly what you're talking about. Kenny, who was, oh, I guess I mentioned my brother at some point. I mean, maybe he lives quite a distance from me, and he's an author. He doesn't have a lot of time. Truth of the matter is that my brother and I don't see each other quite often, because he's got a young kid, and he lives like an hour and a half away from me, even though we both live near Atlanta. I mean, maybe one day, sure, but I don't see that happening in the near future. Yeah, Knights of Old, I do change things up. Occasionally. I move things around, like this Action Force thing replaced the Silverhawks that are now in that case over there. So yeah, I move things around. I could do still frames in between the walk and talks. It's not walking. There is no walk and talk. It's, look, you see this case behind me? There's a top shelf, then there's the first interior shelf, second, third, fourth, fifth. Now, a gimbal is not going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 while I'm standing in one place. I have to kneel. I have to go like this. I have to go top shelf, down, next shelf, down, next shelf, down, next, and then I'm getting lower. Then I have to get up. And so, like, I don't know why. Okay, we're just going to let this go. We're going to let it go. Let it go. Here we go with the cameras thing again. Venkman, thank you for the super chat. What would Skeletor sound like when he eventually goes to the old folks' home? What would he be talking about? He'd probably be making jokes about how eventually everybody else is going to have a face like his. Oh, too soon. He'd probably be talking about the fact that they don't update their magazine selection fast enough. Robert, thank you for the super chat. He says, keep doing what you're doing. People only hate on you when you speak truth in this community. Thank you for being a gentleman when it's hard to do so. You're welcome, Robert, and thank you for the support. Really appreciate that. Ronan Medic says, I love the Echo Based Network, guys, but I get enough of that accent in conversational tones. I don't want to strain to hear it. Yeah. Let's see. We Unholy, we were briefly affected by the gasoline thing, but thankfully it seemed to bounce back quickly, and I think we're going to be good in the next few days. And because I work from home and Melinda works from home, we weren't affected by it too much. Plus, I have gasoline without ethanol in gasoline containers for the DeLorean, so I was able to siphon some of that out of the cans when we got low. And no, I'm not a survivalist. Let's see. Let me see. Drew G, thank you for the super chat. Have you enjoyed the Robinhood research? Yeah, I really have been enjoying the Robinhood research. Really have. A lot of fascinating stuff. Tim and I just watched a movie today that he wanted to see that I'd found. And that's actually going to be one of the next videos we do. It's going to be kind of a preemptive prologue to the Robinhood video, but it's been a lot of fun. And I can't wait to, I've already written like 6 to 8 pages of that script. So still a few months away, but I'm really excited to do that for sure. You see what I deal with? See what I put up with? Let's see here. It's not about the movement, Gen X, or I'm not going to let this go. It's not about the movement. He's making a statement about what the camera does when a person moves. It's not because I have to go up and down. Open up your brain. It's about the fact that the camera is going to show the motion. All right? And that's what's making them queasy. All right, guys, I'm gonna read the last super chats and then I'm gonna end this live stream because you guys have gotten fixated on BS and I'm over it. Sal, thank you for the super chat. He says, hey, Retroblasting, I'm a big fan. Can you answer this question for me? Because you forgot to tell me the answer in the 15 seconds of an unrelated video I watched. And to be fair, I can't be arsed to look it up. Counterpoint, hi. Thanks, man. Scott Hudson, building a home-crafted Tantive 4 for the 3.75-inch figures. Oh, awesome. It's 9 feet long and comes in 4 sections. The basic structure is nearly complete. I'd love to see pictures of that, man. Send it to me. That's great. Meaning send me photos of that. That's great. Next comes the finished work. 2 years in, probably 2 to go. That's going to be awesome when you get done, man. I cannot wait to see it. Cannot wait. All right, guys. Well, I am going to end this super chat now, or this super chat. I'm going to end this live stream. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next few videos that we're doing. For those of you who are on Patreon, you'll be seeing Patreon updates throughout the rest of the week. For those of you on Patreon, Retro Talk Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 o'clock Central Time. We have the next Retro Talk. I think that's number 9. Dwayne C., thank you so much for the final super chat. That's very kind of you, sir. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys later. See you, the rest of you guys on Patreon. Bye.